Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the HNE Daily Podcast. Today we swapped out Nick for CJ.
It's true.
All jokes aside though, hopefully episode 3, all three of us could be there.
Maybe.
Who knows, maybe I
Don't
won't
hold your
be
breath.
there. Maybe I'll switch with Nick, who knows.
We're cycling out. We're just tag teaming one at a time. Trading somebody new. Who knows? For the 4th episode is where it really gets wild, because then we have to bring in someone completely different for one of us. Or maybe that's just when we're all three here. Happy to be here. The new format I'm really excited about. Going to let us cover a lot of news on the daily. I know this is something that a lot of people had asked for kind of in the comment section. So I'm really excited to see kind of where this podcast goes.
Yeah, and as always, I mentioned in the first episode, but for those that missed it, this episode goes up an hour earlier on SoundCloud, and also you can hear the entirety of the podcast episode on SoundCloud. On YouTube, if you're watching it there, you only unfortunately get to see one segment of it due to, rendering and all that stuff. But that aside, SoundCloud's free, so, it doesn't only cost you your time. But getting into topic number 1 here, Star Wars, episode 9, still untitled at the moment of recording. But Matt Smith, some people's favorite doctor, others not favorite doctor, but charismatic fellow. Matt Smith has been casted in an unknown role for Star Wars Episode 9. People are speculating, all the roles, but CJ, what are you feeling for that?
It's really interesting. So I love Matt Smith. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan, so I'm really not qualified to say whether he was my favorite Doctor or not. He played a very, very quirky role, and I think that was really interesting. He was not as good, like in Terminator Genisys, but again, that movie was also not as good. I think he was really, really good in The Crown. He has been really good in that, and unfortunately, his part in that show is now being recast as they have a time jump. But he's an incredible actor. I think he's gonna, I'm glad to see him getting, some more work in a blockbuster that's not Terminator Genisys. And it's one of those things where a lot of people are speculating, like, oh, who could he be playing? Variety describes it as a key role. It's really interesting that he was added after production began. So that I'm very curious about what kind of role he'll be playing. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where he was so quirky in Doctor Who that I feel like most people might find this a little bit weird, but I think he's going to be a villain of some sort. Because all we've got left is Kylo. As far as we know, we didn't cast another villain. Richard E. Grant from Logan, he's probably playing a villain as well, I assume, just because he does that really, really well. But Matt Smith, if you've watched The Crown, you know that he can look, he can bring a lot of emotional depth to the table, and as Prince Philip, he flies off the handle more than a few times in that show. And so I think what I saw that I like the most, the theory that I saw that I really personally hope happens, is that he could be one of the Knights of Ren, and be another fallen student of Luke's, and add some more stakes to that. Maybe a contender against Kylo, maybe a new lieutenant for Kylo, or even just someone that's in like the First Order. I think he kind of has that look to him. But again, maybe he'll be a resistance fighter or something like that.
Yeah, I think your theory is accurate. Kind of what I was thinking was that either he was like a member of the Resistance / New Republic, whatever they're going to end up calling themselves at the end of the day. But I thought maybe he was like a member of that. Since as far as we know, their leadership ranks is thinner than it used to be, to say the least. Unfortunately. So, and that kind of makes sense. Like, I could see easily, this late in production, maybe they're kind of feeling, shit, we don't have enough footage of Carrie Fisher as we thought to maybe do certain things we would have wanted to do with the character. So maybe they're kind of doing those things, but instead of with Princess Leia or General Organa, maybe instead they're going to do it with a new kind of commander-like character, because the galaxy is vast. So I'm sure they could easily just make someone out of thin air to basically do almost the same thing from a commander kind of standpoint. And
but he definitely could also be playing an alien. Like, we really don't. But he's a tall, thin dude that usually kind of fits what they tend to cast for alien creatures.
Yeah. But I think the Knights of Ren thing could have some merit also, because that would be the type of role that in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, you can kind of cast those characters a little later because for the most part, they're kind of geared up. But also on top of that, the age of Matt Smith is similar to Adam Driver's. I think they're like a year or two apart for the most part. So you could easily kind of, age-wise at least, if we're going to use that, be like, all right, maybe they were students together, at Luke's Academy at one point.
Yeah, Adam Driver is a year younger, but they're right there, 34 and 35.
Yeah, so it's like I could see the Knights of Ren, and I would like that actually.
I really need them to come back, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I need something.
I wouldn't necessarily like Matt Smith as a Knight of Ren, but I would like to have an actual character, or not an actor, but like, well, yes, an actor. I'd like an actual actor to play a character that's a Knight of Ren.
I would like an actor.
Yeah, even though I kind of am getting a feeling,
instead of a stuntman.
I'm slowly but surely kind of getting a feeling that after Star Wars Rebels wraps up that TV show, they're going to have another TV show which is going to further develop the Knights of Ren.
Well, so Rebels is wrapped up now. The new show that's coming out is called Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's very possibly going to involve the Knights of Ren. We know that it's going to involve Captain Phasma to a certain degree. And Gwendolyn Christie's voicing that role. Poe Dameron's in it, and Oscar Isaac is voicing that role for the show. Yeah, so they're really pulling out all the stops.
Star Wars does a really good job, I must say, in getting the actors to do the voices also. Like, when they got James Earl Jones to do Darth Vader, they also got, like, they keep getting Liam Neeson somehow to do Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm like, how are you guys pulling that off? Like,
it's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, I would definitely not be surprised to see the Knights of Ren show up in that show, but I would also hope to see them on the big screen with Episode 9.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of them along with Captain Phasma. They were kind of hyped up, and then we just really haven't gotten anything from them yet. I hope he's honestly, before we leave the topic, I do hope Matt Smith's not playing a totally new villain, just because I think we have enough villains for this upcoming movie, and I just really would like us to develop and go into those villains more.
So I kind of go the opposite direction, where I'm like, I don't think we have enough villains for this movie. I think that Snoke is dead. I could see Snoke coming back in some way, shape, or form, whether it's like an evil ghost or something like that. But really, the only threat that we know of at this point is Kylo. So I would agree that the best way that they could move forward is to have him play an existing villain that we haven't seen in a Knight of Ren. Or some other faction leader in the First Order or something like that. But it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because really, when you think about it, Kylo is the only extant threat right now. I mean, the First Order is nothing to be joked about. The New Republic's in shambles, but it's still one of those things where it's like, this is just the one guy, and I kind of feel like they need there's a nice hole for him to potentially fill.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's a pivotal role, which is why I initially was thinking it was maybe like a commander-like role, for the Resistance or whatever.
It definitely could be.
Because I can't imagine what else would be a pivotal role at this point, with all the characters they already have in there that are supposed to be doing pivotal roles.